Hey everyone, welcome to Can't Afford to Record, the YouTube channel where we figure out the art of audio production together. So some of the more popular videos on my channel have been to do with the ART MPA Pro II, which is a preamp that I have, and it's a really great preamp. I absolutely love this unit, and I've really enjoyed the past couple of videos I've made on it. I really like it because it's reasonably priced and it allows you to add saturation and color to your signal that the more generic interface preamps just don't allow for. And seemingly it has a lot of different applications. In the first video that I did, I showcased the unit with a bass guitar to show the clean tones and the dirtier crunch tones you can get out of it. And then in the second video, I created a small song only using the sound coming out of the preamp. So if I wanted more distortion, I turned up the gain. If I wanted less, I turned the gain down, but turned up the output. I messed around with adding plus 20 dB onto some audio signals. There's a high plate button. I'm not altogether too sure exactly what it does, but it does change the sound a little bit. Messing around with the variable impedance control, all that kind of stuff to basically get the finished product as I went into Logic. And that was a super fun video to do. If you haven't seen it, then the link is around about here. And today I'm actually taking inspiration from both of those videos to find out, can I use the MPA as a guitar amp? And the truth is, I already kind of know that I can, because I was mixing a song for a friend the other day and I thought this really needs a really vibey, reverby, lush guitar droney sort of lick happening in the song. And so I decided I'm going to plug straight into my MPA. I turned up the gain, made it super crunchy and nasty. I put it into Logic, but then through a room reverb, an impulse response of a really large hall, and I gushed it with even more reverb, and it just sounded really vibey and it had all the mojo, and I was really pleased with the result. So then I was thinking, okay, can I actually put on a speaker impulse response of a guitar cabinet and, you know, track that way? I often use virtual amps, then put on like a Celestion impulse response, or sometimes I plug in with my Blue Guitar Amp 1 and put an impulse response on the end of that. So that's using definitely either a plugin which is specifically meant to sound like a guitar amplifier, or using an actual guitar amplifier with a speaker impulse response. But this MPA isn't really sold as a guitar amp, it is sold as a preamp, but why not? Let's try it out. Let's see if we can use this as a guitar amp. So that's what I did, and I got these results. Let's jump into Logic. Let me blitz through what I did, show you what's going on, and then yeah, maybe you might want to try this yourself. So more often than not, I process the bass guitar like this. I've got a bass low and a bass high. So for the bass low, I'm going into like an 1176, and then I'm going into an L1, and then I'm going into an EQ. Okay, so the EQ is rolling off at around about 260, and I'm just wanting that low end foundation. I'm going to just pin it in place, and truth be told, I actually didn't use the MPA for this low bass signal. I actually DI'd my bass straight into my interface, but then I used the other signal coming from my DI into this MPA Pro II, and that's where I'm messing with the higher frequencies. So the low one is just what it is. I can play it for you, and it sounds like this. So just a regular DI bass with just the low frequencies. So this high frequency is where it gets interesting, because on this actually is the MPA with the gain distortion turned all the way up, the output just to match for volume. And I would play it without these plugins on it first of all. Sounds like this. I mean, that's actually a pretty tasty bass guitar sound if you ask me. But what I've done is I put the 1176 on it. In fact, the same settings that are on the bass low track. And so for the EQ, I'm really just focusing on that high end area of the bass. And so that will sound like this on its own. You get the idea. Now, if we put the two together, we'll have this. I'm keep pointing down because I've got it stuck in where my drawer is meant to go on this desk. Here's a picture. Hey, if the shoe fits, works for me. Okay, so now on to the guitars. So let's check out what's going on here. So I've got a Les Paul and I've got a Fender Strat. And I have got the MPA, as I say, working as the guitar amp section. So what I'll do is I'll put these, pan these both to the middle so you can sort of get a better context of it. And I will solo the Les Paul track, and I'll get rid of the EQ for now and actually the impulse response. And you'll hear this is what we've got. There's a bit of reverb there as well that I've got going on another auxiliary track. And then for the impulse response, I'm using a Celestion impulse response. Absolutely love these IRs, and it's a greenback 4x12 SM57 on the sort of brighter side of things. So that's what I went for, and I really like it. That sounds like this. And then I'm EQing it a little bit. That's going to add this. Okay, so now I've panned that to the left, and let's check out the Stratocaster, which is very much along the same sort of lines. I just wanted a different guitar for a different sort of tone. And this is what it sounds like without an impulse response or the EQ. It sounds like this. So I just wanted that really jangly sound. And when I put the impulse response on, I actually can't remember what I used. What did I use? Okay, so yeah, I remember now. I was kind of after that 60s raw sound, so I went for the Celestion Blue 1x12 SM57 on a bright setting, and that sounds like this. And I really like the blue speakers on this because it has that real chimey sound. It's hard to explain, but hopefully you know what I mean. So I really like the contrast between the Strat with that sound and the Les Paul. And then with the EQ thrown on as well, it sounds like this. So not a big change, just tightening up a few areas. Now when I pan them both, it will sound, oh, and I'll play them both for you. They'll sound like this. Sounds great, I think. Anyways, really suits this kind of song. This is the fun one. I went and did a fuzz guitar, but the cool thing about this fuzz guitar is I'm really not doing anything to it. There's no speaker impulse response on this, and I'm just using the unit as the fuzz box. So I am doing a little bit of EQ, and I've got a compressor hitting it a little bit afterwards. But let me show you what it sounds like without those things. And yeah, it sounds like this. So I was thinking, what could I do? Could I put an impulse response on? Should I try and put on like a rat pedal or like a fuzz pedal of some sort? But like, no. Let's just use the fuzz sound from the MPA, and I really, really love it. And if I add an EQ, you'll see that it just tightens up a little bit. And then when I add the compressor on as well, just to squash it, get rid of a couple of peaks, sounds like this. that's it. That's all I did. I didn't mic up any cabinets. I didn't use any guitar amps. I just used this preamp. Now, I admit I can't see myself using this as a guitar amp from now on, but I think it did fit what I was trying to create with this little jam, and especially that fuzz guitar tone. That is a trick I'm going to keep up my sleeve. The next time I need a really raw, crunchy, punky fuzz guitar sound, I think I'm just going to plug into this, crank up the gain, and just let it do its thing. And yeah, just super, super cool. I really love this approach. Let me know what you guys think below in the comments. Do you think the MPA Pro 2 works as a guitar amp? Have you ever tried a similar thing? Have you got a different preamp that you use to create these different sort of guitar amp sounds or use in different creative ways? Let me know. I'd love to hear from you. And with that being said, I think that's about it. Thank you so much for stopping by and watching the video. Hey, if you liked it, you might want to consider leaving me a thumbs up because it really helps out my channel. And if you like it more than that, then you might want to subscribe right here at Can't Afford to Record. I'll see you soon.